Hi guys, it's me again. I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleanup with some fallout from the eyeshadow look that I have on with some micellar water and a little bit of a cotton cloth, and just taking off a little bit of the excess stuff. Sometimes you do dramatic looks like what I'm wearing and you get a little bit of fallout, so that's why I'm doing my base at this time. Just doing a little bit of moisturizer just to rehydrate my skin with my Pond's Claret B. This one I've been using for years now and it works really well on fading out my acne spots and scars and things like that. So starting with concealer, the base that I'm going for today is a little bit more full coverage. So I'm going to be hitting all my little acne scars and my under eye area and just kind of evening out my tone. This is a full, or I want to say about a medium to full coverage face that I'm doing, and this is a foundation or a base routine that I do if I'm going out, if we're going to dinner and I really want some nice pictures and I don't want to look amazing. So yeah, and I'm just taking my trusty Real Techniques foundation brush just to blend out that concealer, because it is a little bit of a smaller area, just to blend out under my eyes, my nose and my chin, and a little bit on my forehead as well. Right, next moving on to my highlighter, my liquid highlighter, just layering up my cream and liquid products. First, I really like using this highlighter as you saw in my last video, and I put it a little bit everywhere. It's not the only highlighting step that I do in this video, but you will see more of that later. Much of my base foundation and my routine with this is pretty much the same for a majority of the time that I'm doing makeup, but I just use little tidbits of it when I'm doing, say, my work, or just doing a low-key makeup look or something just casual. So I'm using a little bit more foundation today and just hitting them on all of my areas. Because this foundation does dry down pretty quickly, I'm doing one half of my face at a time and using a little bit of a larger, flatter, and more densely packed brush to just get everywhere blended really seamlessly. This brush is by LA Colors as well. It's one that I've had probably for a year and a half or so. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty good as well, and it works really nicely with this foundation without shearing it out too much, and it's still giving me a good amount of coverage. Also bringing this down to my neck a little bit just to make sure that everything looks one-toned. It was kind of breezy today, so my hair gets in my face. Now to set, I'm using a wet Morphe sponge and the Sacha Buttercup powder. I don't use a whole lot, just a tiny bit, just under my eyes and to set my forehead and other areas. It's just a lightweight powder. I don't really like to do a lot of heavy baking and so on. I used to, but I always found my face to look a little on the dry side when I did the baking, so I basically cut that down to this. Here I am talking to Don while he's playing some games and bothering me a little bit. Trying to pull him in and obviously failing. So I'm just gonna bronze first with my two trusted products, the Sephora and NYX Cosmetics bronzers, and using pretty much the same techniques that you would have seen in my last video. The only difference in this video, main difference, is of course that I'm setting down certain areas. Now I'm bronzing a little bit more heavily, same with my contour, and I'm not completely finished with setting down my face. If you notice, I didn't set down the lower parts of the sides of my face below my cheekbones. I'm just going to be using the same Morphe sponge and Sacha Buttercup powder to just clean up my contour and bronzing in a second. So here I just took a page out of that makeup baking book and just kind of sculpted out my contour and just blending that in just so it's not super harsh. So I still get a nice soft contour and a nice soft bronzing of my face. So this shade is called Flip Flops. It's a really nice warm pinky shade with a lot of glitter actually, and a little bit of a bluish hue to some of the glitters as well. And I love using shadows as highlighter. So this is the part where I mentioned earlier about the layering my highlighter. So I'm just being a little sparing with it because I don't want to be seen from space. So just putting that everywhere and just admiring that my highlighter there. And I'm using this Tarte Cosmetics blush in Party. That's Party with 3 A's, and a little bit of a blush brush from LA Colors as well. And now for lips, I'm using a Comfort Matte from Urban Decay in 1993 and a lipstick from Tarte called Rum Punch. How appropriate. Just gonna let my hair down a little bit. I gotta do a top bun. It's too hot and I don't want my hair to be blowing in my face while I'm doing foundation. Not fun. Alright, and that's the finished look. I do a little bit of a pose as usual. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and stay tuned next week for a video on this eye look as well. Bye!